Nice for that.
Hey, man, I mean, you ain't retired or nothing. Just get here when you can. Just whenever
Hey,
you
I
get
just
here,
moved
get here
in
when you
from
can.
Lake for this.
All right. Good evening. We'll call to order Board of Commissioners work session, July 15th, 2025. Time is now 4:12. Chelsea?
Yes, sir. So for our work session, we wanted to go over the R1 and R5. You also have in your packet our open space that we would like to bring forward as well, the open space ordinance, because that is one of the major changes that you will see for R1, R5. It's also going to be a big part of R2 and R3 as we bring those forward as well. So let's start with R1, and then as Tim joins us, we can kind of delve into R5 and that open space requirements. So with R1, you know, and a lot like with the other ordinances that we saw at the other workshops, we did change the intent just to make it more clear, more consistent, that the R1 single-family residential district is to preserve and protect the character of that low-density residential neighborhood. R1 has typically been, you know, again, that single-family housing, low-density residential. The minimum lot area, that hasn't changed. It's still 12,000 square feet if there is public or community water and sewer system. The one thing you will see here, though, is that the maximum number of principal residences, is one. And then there will be a maximum number of accessory dwelling units that came out of the steering committee would be one. If you remember from the ADU ordinance that was brought forward for the R districts, that ADU would be restricted to 75% of the principal dwelling. So it can't be more than 75% of that principal dwelling square footage. So let's see, looking here. Again, not much within the road frontage or the front yard setbacks changed here based on the current ordinance. And again, the required utilities. This didn't change much either. R1 does allow for septic systems or, you know, private or community sanitary sewer systems. So again, that's what that required utilities does speak to there.
What about the building height? Did we adopt the new building?
So the maximum building height for R1 is 30 feet. And I would have to double check. I believe that stayed the same in R1.
Okay.
Oh, you mean for the accessory structures?
Yeah, I thought.
So for an accessory dwelling unit, we would have to revisit that ordinance because, and Kim, I'm looking at you because I don't believe our actual accessory dwelling unit ordinance speaks to the height. So we would definitely have to revisit that.
Okay.
So.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. One of the new things that came out of steering committee for R1 is the development standards. Right now, R1 doesn't have that. So, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to jump back and forth here on the screen. So first, a sidewalk requirement. Typically, R1 doesn't have sidewalks, especially because we do see these in more of some of our rural areas. And we wanted to still support that so that they didn't have to have that, especially if they are well and septic. It wouldn't require sidewalks. However, if a developer came in and they were going to do an R1 community that did have water and sewer, we would require that sidewalks be constructed. Because with water and sewer, in an R1, you can go down to that 12,000 square foot lot.
Is there specifics on the sidewalks? I know that there was one subdivision that was built, they literally put the sidewalk next to the pavement. There wasn't the typical 18 to 24 inch glass strip between the pavement and the sidewalk.
Yeah, we actually changed and made the sidewalk specifications a lot clearer on this. Now, on R1, you know, and I don't, forgive me if I'm repeating, that's when we, just because you can go anywhere from a half an acre to a full acre, our thought was that the sidewalk requirements would be if there was water and sewer in the neighborhood. Because once the lots gets too big, it just becomes not feasible to have two sides of the road sidewalks on it. But that's just on R1.
Yes. Yep. And then again, we have the entrance features, which you'll see. This is something new as well. We have this in R5 too. That it does allow, and I'm going to read this to you. Designed entrance features shall be permitted where they contribute to the overall aesthetic and identity of the development. And what this does is it allows minimal clearing within the required buffers to the extent necessary to accommodate an entrance feature. So it gives discretion to staff, and of course, you know, should landscape or buffering be required to ensure visual cohesion to mitigate potential impacts on adjacent properties. So when developers want to come in and they want to do an entrance feature where they need to impact the required buffers in the front, you know, it gives them that option to be able to do that.
So we're not requiring an entrance?
No, and part of the reason it's so hard to define them. You know exactly what an appropriate entrance feature would be. It's depending on the neighborhood. But then you also run into the situations where, I'm thinking of like Lonadine on 119 across from the high school, where you know just a minimal entrance feature is there because it really is an entrance road and you can't see anything on the side. So it really, one of the reasons why we wanted to make this kind of a staff negotiation tool is that we can look at every site and determine what's appropriate
My next
and what's
question is,
overkill.
did we leave enough room so that staff had
Yeah.
some play in it? Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
And then like R5, which you'll see, we have the exterior finish, you know, incorporating two patterns and combinations of natural elements so that we're not getting, as we've seen, just vinyl boxes. And let's see, so we have kind of our street trees and again, the sidewalks there as well. We'll come back to the open space requirement in the accessory dwelling unit, of course. And then as you'll see, there is that R1A single family residential district. Not much change there. We have 46 lots in the R1A district that are currently zoned that. That is for your manufactured or modular homes that are on a foundation. So that is currently in the ordinance. And that will not be changing. So that is R1. So we can kind of shift to R5.
And can we
Yeah.
discuss R1 before we move to R5?
Sure,
Just to make it simpler for me. Pretty much, there's to me, and there's very, I mean, like you say, there's not tremendous amount of over changes I see here to a degree. I am though, is there any kind of way that we can do, and I'm gonna mention this some in R5, although I know that's a whole different ballgame there, to just stop people from just clear cutting everything to begin with? And try to retain some natural trees
Well, and I,
left there?
and I agree with you on that, and
And I'm not talking about buffer.
right,
I'm
right.
talking about just, I guess I'm thinking Silverwood, old
Where
old
tree
Silverwood,
ordinance
or,
would come into play on that.
It-
Ramsey Landing, that's where the tree ordinance would come in. Just to rather than just go in and just mow everything down and then plant these 2-inch trees. My gosh, you know how big that is.
Correct.
So, that's gonna take 50 years to go back. If there
Well-
was some way that we could try to encourage, or just say, I mean, I don't know, we need to encourage, just say you've got to leave X amount of natural growth in this type of
Well,
development.
and in some cases, it's tough, right? Because, it depends what sort of trees are in there. But the goal, I think, on the tree ordinance is to, well, let me back up. Our subdivision ordinance actually states that they have to, save as many, large trees as they can. But the problem is the subdivision ordinance doesn't take effect until the property gets subdivided, and often that is after it's been cleared. And so we realize that that's kind of been a little bit of a loophole in what we're trying to accomplish in the subdivision ordinance. So when we were originally approached with some ideas on a tree ordinance, and it's one that we're going to reapproach to all of you, so that you basically incentivize. You do a combination of requirements and incentives to try and have them design around the trees where they can. Yes, it's going to be more expensive, but and we haven't really got into the tree ordinance in detail yet, but I think when you talk about the tree ordinance in combination with open space requirements, you could possibly give some credits for open space for saving grand trees, or saving a certain percentage of the tree canopy in the neighborhood. But I do think that would be a separate ordinance, because you want it to apply, really for everything you can, right? Where you're incentivizing, regardless of whether it's multifamily, or R5 or R1. You want to get them to, kind of get into the mindset of tree preservation. So I agree, and the chairman has been actually providing us with some sample ordinance from Pooler, and plus we've done some work earlier on it that we think shortly after this, or even before we approve all this, we'll at least have a first draft of that in front of y'all.
Yeah, and that'll be with an arborist, right? I mean, they would hire an arborist basically to go survey.
Yeah, you do a tree survey
Yeah.
in advance, and that's kind of traditionally how you do it, and you
Right.
just kind of figure out what you can save, and then your code has to be flexible, right? So if you've got, if you're trying, like, let's say in R5, where you're really looking at not minimum setbacks but almost maximum setbacks, so you get that neighborhood feel, but you give flexibility on those setback rules to get around a tree, right? If that the saving of the tree is the presiding ordinance, and then the setbacks are secondary to that, so that if I've got to set my house back farther than the requirement to save a tree in the front yard, that's what you do. And so it's everything is around, and when we dig into the open space document, you'll see that the R's really kind of what defines the changes we're doing to the residential zoning is really the preservation and development of open space and amenities. And so you don't want, and saving trees is obviously runs parallel to that.
And one of the things that I should have mentioned with R1 is we have changed it to R1 having to have a 10% open space. It does have now has a 10% open space requirement. So that suggestion did come out of steering committee, where the current R1 does not have an open space requirement.
What is our buffer requirement on R1 presently?
So
From
it
a main road, for example?
So it depends on what is across, what zoning is across the road. So if it is R1 across, then it would be 15. If it is a B zoning that's across, it would be 30 feet.
No. Not for residential. The higher use determines what the buffer is. So the B use would be would require the higher zoning. But what we did do was 30 feet, essentially minimum,
Is a baseline?
as a baseline.
Okay.
But one of the recommendations we're making, I think it's in the R5, is that that be extended to 50 feet. And we do have that 30 feet with a berm as the current one for the frontage, but the thought is that if you've got heavy, had a heavy foliage buffer, that you don't destroy it by putting in a berm. That if you've got 50 feet of forest to work with, you leave it as is.
Mm-hmm.
If it's already cleared, it's a farm field or something like that they're developing on, then at that point, you incorporate a berm in there, because it'll grow higher and thicker when the buffer does grow in. So those are the two things we're looking at. The frontage of the neighborhood, how it fronts to the main street, was a big concern for the steering committee, and they wanted to make sure that that's addressed. And I'm not sure whether, and Chelsea may remind me on this,
Because
whether we included that in the classification or in the subdivision ordinance. Or the buffer ordinance. I wasn't sure.
Yep, it's
Beth
in
and I
the
might
buffer.
not 100%
and the-
agree, but if you can't see it from the road, what you do on the inside is what you're buying into, right?
Yes. And Lonadine is a perfect example of that. I mean, it's just a, pretty little road that you can kind of, if you look, while you're driving by quick enough, you might be able to see there's houses back there.
Right.
But other than that, the whole frontage is forest.
And that's the idea is, of course, to try to keep that rural
Mm-hmm.
type of feel. I think that's what has been said over and over again, to try to, maintain.
I just happened to run just driving down to Fishtails and
Yeah,
Richmond Hill the other day, and you can, you've got your Strothy Hall that's been there forever, but, anything new that's been developed is just kind of off
Yep.
the road, and you don't know what's behind there unless you actually go explore, and it could be, 90,000 townhomes. I don't know. I didn't get off the road, but from the road, it looks, like Richmond Hill's always looked, so.
And another interesting kind of segue into or not really segue, but it's tying into something we discussed about the buffers, protecting the buffers, and talk about changing our process so that we have to get an approval for, you can do buffers and erosion prevention approval first, but at that point, you could also incorporate tree surveys if they're available. So that way they get done early before anything disappears.
Well, I liked Ryan's idea the other night of setting whether it be a construction fence, just whatever, that's a true delineation line instead of
Yep.
occasional ribbon here and there.
well, I looked as I was riding around after he said that, and most of those places have the silt fence up. So
On the-
whoever's mowed through it's just mowing through it. I mean, the ones that I looked at,
Yeah.
there was fencing up,
Yeah. I'm thinking of
So-
like Blue Fern Development, they didn't have something like that, right?
Well, yeah, we kind of went out there with, little ribbons, and we kind of put it on the trees, and, there was maybe like a 3-foot difference, but it makes
Makes it
when
to
you
a
only got
demarcation point.
yeah,
you
when
know,
you only got 15
yeah.
feet to work with, it makes a difference.
It does.
And so, but the point was that that they're installing, that there's no separate inspection for when that erosion control goes in to basically, you kind of start the site inspections. So you just kind of create that initial inspection period where you got to get approval as to where the buffer lines are, where the silt fences are going to go, and you get there before anything's cleared. I think is the key thing
Yeah.
because
Yeah, get ahead of
I'm
it.
with you on that.
That way you don't ask for a trailer and store your materials on top of your curb buffer.
Exactly. Mm.
I read that place the other day, Jamie. They got a lay down yard on the buffer over there, next to the daycare.
And if I can, I'd like to, before we go into R5, I'd like to really start on the open space document that we provided y'all, because, this was one of these things that evolved in the steering committee meetings where, after a few meetings, it was pretty clear that the most important thing that we can come up with, and the thing that'll separate Effingham from, let's say, surrounding jurisdictions when it comes to residential code, is the priority we put on open space and usable open space. And so, because with an R1, you may have 10% open space, but that's because R1's kind of our minimal requirement with regards to residential development, but you have larger lot requirements because of that, right? You have a minimum of a half-acre lot if it's got water and sewer or one of the two, whereas you can have smaller lots in R5. But I'll give you an example on R5. The trade-off there is what we're recommending is, or what the steering committee is recommending, is a 25% open space requirement. And the key factor on that is really on the last page, is where do we start to calculate open space? And so open space is calculated, your base number is taking the total site, subtract out wetlands. That's because they're essentially inaccessible, and those are either jurisdictional, national inventory, or delineated. And you subtract out the required buffer, and then you have your base, right?
Are you reading from 3.47.3?
3.4718. Did you
Last
give it the new
page.
ones of these?
Yes.
Very last
Yeah.
page.
Very
Just the
last
very last
page?
page.
Yeah, the very
Thank
last
you.
page.
Okay.
And so the example here is, let's say a developer has a 200-acre site, of which 40 acres is wetlands. The required buffers for the property is 25 acres. And you may have some inaccessible highlands of 4 acres. So you're essentially subtracting all of that out, and then so your net developable acreage is 141, and 25% of that would have to meet this definition of open space.
So that'll incentivize more amenities then, because they'll get credits.
Correct, because we give a higher factor for amenities. So if you've got a clubhouse or a swimming pool, the acreage that takes up will give you a factor of 3 on it. So you can essentially, if that takes up an acre, you're getting credited for 3 acres of usable open space.
Beth, you and Damon may not know this, but that we used to allow the retention pond to be part of that. We've got that out of it.
Good for you.
Yeah, and I
Well-
was one who raised a cane about that.
And there is some cases where they can be, and we had a long conversation about that. So if you go back to the, maybe the second page where we really start on this, you know, we mentioned the important factor here is that it has to be usable, right?
Right.
So if I do like a, you know, a 10 by 10, you know, little you know,
Square.
10-foot, you know, easement between every house and call that open space, no, it doesn't count. You gotta have 25, each open space has to be about 2,500 square feet in size and a minimum of 30 feet wide to count. Now, there are some exceptions to that when it comes to trails, but we get into that as we define things. So the next page just kind of gives examples of what usable open space is. But really, the meat of it starts at 3, where you show the picture of the tennis court and the swimming pool. And so, we start off with some minimal requirements, right? So that if you're gonna have 200 homes, for every 200 homes, you have to have at least you know, one, what we call a U8 or U10 field, which we define, so that for every 200 lots, so that, you know, there's a large accessible kind of running space for kids in the larger subdivisions. And this is not a full soccer field; it's just U8 or U10 field that they can you know, do some running around on. Then we get into really the stuff that you want to encourage, and you encourage it by giving enhanced credits for. And those mostly the hardscape items, like tennis courts or pickleball courts, fitness centers, playgrounds, hard playgrounds, swimming pools. Those all get 3 times the credit for the land that they take up. So to encourage the developer to, you know, to build those. Trails are also an important amenity, but there's not a lot of investment as much in a trail unless it's a paved trail. So we also include that, and we actually get to that a little bit later, how we give credits for the trail system. I will say I think ponds is the next page, right?
Yeah, ponds and stormwater, decorative ponds, fountains, constructed
I'm
wetlands.
looking for that. I didn't
So
see.
to use a pond outside of fishing,
Yeah, so, oh yeah, here we are. So on ponds and stormwater, so the idea is just because something is a detention pond, it has a requirement, does not meet, does not have a community use, but not every detention pond meets that requirement. So if we went into detail on this, we'll give you an example that if you have like a big centerpiece pond with an entire trail around it, that pond is 100% there for recreational use, so it gets 100% credit. If you have a pond where it has to be at least 30 continuous feet of shoreline is available, but let's say you have a 10-acre pond where 20% of the shoreline is available for the residents in the community. You know, there's a little a park. It's right off the road. There's benches or whatever. It's available. There's not a house that backs up to the pond that's only accessible to that homeowner. You get credit for that percentage of the shoreline that you make available to the entire community. So if it's a 10-acre pond, and you make 20% of the shoreline available, you get 2 acres worth of credit. Now, so that people don't just make massive ponds and make them say, those are my amenities, we did put in the recommendation that no more than 25% of your open space requirement could be met by a pond or water feature. And so, so we imagine that pretty much in the low country, you know, that they're gonna easily meet that 25% criteria. So the remaining 75% would have to be something non-water related.
Is there any way to put a requirement, so in my neighborhood, there's 2. One of them behind my house goes just about dry.
Yeah.
But there's another one that stays full all the time. I wouldn't want to include anything that goes dry.
Yeah, and I
You know,
think
'cause it's not a feature, really.
when we go into details about the ponds and how you value, I mean, generally, if it's a detention pond and they're all connected, right, which would be a requirement, generally a requirement that we'd have right now, they should stay at a pretty steady pool. But we don't give people just, credit for, a dry pond, which is there only
Honey
for
Ridge
flooding.
is another one, the one
Yeah.
that when you, over off Flatbush, it goes pretty much dry, but then there's
Yeah.
another one, I think over there that, so anyway, I just,
Yeah.
Should we require at a minimum a walking trail of some sort
Ye-
for ponds to meet that standard, like as part of, not a and/or?
Well, we could. The only thing is, like in some cases, you may have a sidewalk that you don't get any credit for because it's required. That goes up against the side of a pond, and there's you might have a grass field between the sidewalk and the water with benches and so on and so forth. So they get credit for that, even though it's only being accessed by the sidewalk. But all of the amenities, I mean, if you can't access it via a trail or something, I mean, we kind of go into a little bit of the details on accessibility. Then
So it must be visible or accessible for residents or shared private open space.
that's right.
So accessibility can be, I can see it and I can walk to it.
Yeah, and we can clear
can go
that
on
up.
grass.
That accessibility means that you've got to be able to have some
private
sort of
property.
pedestrian access to it. Yeah.
And it's not fenced. So, okay.
Why is it that we feel like we need to incentivize these things and not just say, we're gonna require them? Like, and I've said this before, I mean, I think we're at the stage, where we're at an advantage, and if you want to build here, why can't we just say, if you wanna build here, this is what you need to do? I mean, I don't wanna be totally unreasonable, but why
But-
can't
I
you
was
just
leading
say,
into if it
why
was
can't you just say that
applicable.
this is gonna happen, rather than saying, I'm gonna trade off this
Yeah.
to get this? If you wanna put a 200 house subdivision, then you're gonna have to build a pool, or you're gonna have to do this. I mean, I'm not saying what specific things, but I just don't see why we need to bargain anymore. I think we're at an advantage right now in Effingham, and, I just feel like we just say, this is what it's gonna take if you wanna build here. And I keep mentioning places like Hilton Head or what you mentioned at Richmond Hill, okay. This is what it's gonna take to build here. And if you're not willing to do that, you have to go somewhere else, because we're not gonna allow, some of the things that we've allowed in the past, because we've changed our mind. Whatever the case may be, is we're gonna do that. I just don't understand why we have to feel like we need to bargain. I don't know that we need to bargain that.
I don't know that we're bargaining, not everybody wants a pool, because if you got a pool, you got a higher HOA.
I just use that
Yeah,
as
well,
a,
pools,
I just threw that as a,
excluding pools, but I'm looking at recreation, for
I
example.
just threw-
That's
I
why
just threw
asked
that
about
out as something.
ponds. So
Okay.
if
I didn't-
and when it's allowable to be, why not go ahead and just mandate walking trails around the pond, for example? If it's, not a big deal to have to get there to do it.
My only is the
And for it to be
complication
used
on
as
that.
credit as well.
Yeah, is that, I mean, what we could say is that, you know, every site's different, right? And so.
Well, you can kind of design, I mean, if we set the baseline, you design around what the baseline is, right?
You can, but sometimes you don't get to choose where your ponds are. You know, I mean, you know, they could be based on, you know, the low point of the community, and there's no way to get a path behind them. And so, I think.
The path was just, you know, just.
I know,
something,
but,
yeah.
but what I'm saying is that, you know, the thing is, and it's not a negotiation, it is us simply saying, look, if you want to build here, and you want to build in R5, and
200 homes, you gotta have a playground,
Yeah.
period. The end.
yeah, I mean, we can put, I think, kind of vague things
turn it
like
up to
that
the
in
town,
there,
yeah.
and then incentivize the rest. Because you'd like to see them put in swimming pools, but I understand that they are a burden to neighborhoods.
75% of your
But
Well,
HOA budget.
I think though
And
the thing.
Don't
the
get
thi-
stuck on the pool.
Oh, yeah.
I just threw that.
No,
pools
but
are
if
an
there,
aggravation.
if some
I
of the
just-
lower hanging fruit,
threw
we
that
want to
out.
make as requirements, like we did with the U10 soccer field, we can say that, that, you know, communities with a minimum of 200 units have to be.
Your district,
Say again.
what's the one that in the Goshen right there? Belmont Glen.
Yeah.
But I would think
Yeah. I don't know.
there's only so much we can do legally, because I know there's other communities around the state that have tried that, and it has not ended well for them. That's the only thing that concerns me, so I think that's why it's easier to offer the incentives, because they comply at their own will.
Correct, but we still have the requirement for open space. We say it's gonna have to be 25%. You can, you know, you have options on how you're gonna do it. But I do agree that we can make some small requirements in there, right? Like the trail systems, and, you know, figure out a way to integrate those in there. And what was the other one? And, you know, and the field and the playground, right? Those are not huge. I mean, playgrounds can be big investments, believe me. You all know that.
The option to turn over to the county, right? Or
And we do give that option, right? So you can actually, you have three options. Either it's owned and maintained in R5, it's owned and maintained by the homeowners association. You enter into an agreement with the county to deed the property over to the county. So the county would have to agree in advance to accept it and under what terms. Or the third, you can have a third-party conservation nonprofit if you had, let's say, a large kind of conservation area with trails in it. You know, you can just turn that over to a nonprofit and have them maintain it. So there are options in there, but we don't require in R1 a homeowners association. So while there may be open space requirements, there has to be some if there are ponds, there has to be some sort of community maintenance agreement for ponds. What we try and do, and this goes to Commissioner Deloach's point, is we say, look, you can develop in R1. It's a little less restrictive, the demands that we have on it. The trade-off on that is it's larger home sites, right? Less open space requirements, less amenity requirements, less design requirements, just larger home sites, right? And so, but if you want to do the denser development, then at that point, we've got these additional requirements. It's a trade-off.
I think
Right.
the value of the trade-off is an economic thing. So they start with 200 acres, they get down to 131, then we're demanding another 35 acres of open space. Why in the world are they gonna put in they said, look, we'll just comply with open space. We're not gonna put in a playground if we can't trade it off for some more lots to sell to pay for these amenities.
Yeah, well,
You know?
they're getting
Yeah, but
credit for like the playground and stuff. I was talking about recreational open space, not.
No, I'm
Not
talking about the
maintaining-
trade-off, the benefits of creating that, you get certain amount of credits.
correct?
Well, so you incentivize,
Yeah, I mean,
other than that, they'll just have these just massive fields.
Right. This-
And with no hardscape, and it's very difficult to require, I mean, you could do a playground, right? I think you can get away with a playground, you can get away with a field, but can you get away with a clubhouse? No. You can't require them to put in a clubhouse, nor would they probably want to. But, there are certain things that you require in the neighborhood, the bus stop, the covered bus stop by the mail kiosk, the field, and possibly a playground. But I think everything else, you just say we would prefer that if you do it, and because we prefer that if you do it, you will give you a little extra credit for it, rather than just leaving swaths of woods that sure you could walk through. But they don't have a lot of amenity value for the kids, right? And so, that's kind of why the first thing we start with is you have to do this, right? You have to have 25% open space, which from our understanding, no one else has a requirement like that. And then and then you have to put this field in, you have to, let's say, put this bus stop in, and we can say you have to do, if you're 200 units or more, you have to do a playground. Everything else, we just incentivize, but no matter what, it still has to be considered accessible, right? So that's why you get credit for the trails. If you have a bunch of wetlands, right, and you're willing to put a boardwalk through them to gain access to an upland within the wetlands, you're incentivized to do that because you're now making that little upland island in the wetlands accessible, right? And so the end result is we're trying to come up with a much better product when it comes to open space and amenities. And this is kind of the logic that we came there. Trails, you get more, they're a valuable asset and they're expensive. So you get more credit if, you're getting a wider trail. You get 2 times the credit for it if it's if it's a improved asphalt, versus just a mulch, little kind of trail through the forest. So, and we also say that you just can't put a trail to nowhere, right? You just can't have 20 feet of trail and it's not connected to sidewalks or amenities or anything like that. It's got to be part of a bigger system so that you can have a trail that connects to the sidewalks, which has to be on both sides of the street anyway, and it meets that requirement. And so spending the amount, and we spent a couple of meetings on this open space document, because we figured that would really be the defining document, for the R1. We think all the Rs are going to have that R1 and R4 will have the 10% requirement. R4 is mobile home park, and you can have a conditional use of a tiny home village in there, but mostly it's a mobile home park. R1, R4, the 10%, but R2, which is duplexes and townhomes, R3, which is duplexes, townhomes, and apartments, and R5 will all have that 25% requirement. Yes?
I have a question. So procedurally, just say someone's rezoning property from AR1 to, let's just say R1, for example. Could conditions be attached to that rezoning to, for Beth's example, not a pool, but could you attach the conditions to it to say you have to have a playground for every X amount of time, or you have to do X, Y, and Z?
That's correct, and we go through that process in our ordinance where they have to agree or withdraw to accept the conditions that you put on there.
Gotcha.
And so if this case gives them the flexibility to, maybe not put in a clubhouse, or maybe not put in a pool, or doesn't have any square footage requirements for a playground, right? And you all wanted to get them to agree to do that because they were going to do it anyway, and now they're going to be on the record as a condition to the rezoning. You can do that, obviously as long as they concede to it. Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't think we're going to have time to go into R5, but we can start off by kind of looking at this document. You have R1 to look at, and then we'll dig into R5 at the next one. But one of the things we did want to discuss was, there was a desire to have, a much longer format meeting on this, and just kind of quickly start the discussion on that to say is that direction you want to go? When in the day do you want to have it, and for how long? And then we can reach out to y'all and find out when is the best schedule to do it.
Off the top of my head, it's, we need a good, solid day of all these things that we're discussing as you're trying to present these. I think could be hammered out, and then we could probably just flow right through these things at that point. So days.
Are you suggesting just have a longer meeting,
Yeah, just
say on
have
August 5th? Is that what you're suggesting?
just having an
A
8-hour
marathon
day
day?
set aside to let's hammer this thing out and
Not the day of the meeting. If it's gonna be an all day.
Not the day of, absolutely not, no. But, whether it be a Friday, a Saturday, a Monday,
Well, when would you want to, if we are, so the schedule that we've kind of established, right, is to bring the ARs, Bs, and Is back to y'all on the 5th, on August 5th.
right?
And then essentially all the Rs at 2 weeks later. Did you want to, we had a nice kind of 2-hour discussion on the Rs and ARs and Bs and Is and what have you. So, we'll send that based on the feedback that you all provided us. We'll try and get that out to you as quickly as we can. But maybe after the 5th, but before the 19th, which, does that make sense? Is that the next meeting? Is it the 19th?
Yes.
Yeah, somewhere in there, that we do a day, however, how many hours you all want to do this. So you just let us know and staff will make the time.
Okay.
I won't be here on a Saturday.
I think we need to do it during the work week. I know
That's
that
fine.
might
I mean, just
inconvenience some people,
pick a
but
day
I
and,
just,
I'll make accommodations to do whatever myself personally, but.
So you want to try and do it on a Friday, let's say?
I prefer
Friday?
Thursday because on Fridays I'm usually headed somewhere.
A Thursday?
What days are out?
Wednesday or Thursday suits me.
we're
Saturday,
talking
Sundays
the
are
week of the
out.
11th? Is
Fridays
that
are
what you're
out.
looking at?
Fridays is out.
Yeah, I will not be,
Mondays make it
I'm
tough too.
You're gone when?
I'm gone 6th to the 13th. So that's a Wednesday to Wednesday.
We'll see, so those dates are out.
What about a
'Cause you
Monday?
got to be here.
We could do the
Next Monday.
Monday,
Before the meeting, the 18th?
yeah, that's a little tough.
What about the 14th?
I mean, we could, I could dive right into it and do it on the Thursday, the 15th, if we want.
15th is a Friday.
The 14th?
A Friday, the 14th,
Be the
Thursday, the
14th 's a
14th,
Thursday.
yeah.
Come up with a few days and we'll just come
Okay.
up to a consensus and figure it out. And if Forrest
works.
isn't there, it'll be okay. When you traveling? Aren't you traveling, Forrest?
Hmm?
Are you traveling anywhere in August?
In August, let me check my calendar.
I know I am, but it's after the.
When do the kids go back to school?
6th,
I don't know.
That's the
August
6th.
6th,
So,
first day of school.
Jamie, what days are best for you with your work schedule?
Thursday would,
Whatever.
Thursday would work. Normally my work meetings are beginning of the week. So I can
Thursday?
I can make a Thursday work.
See about a Thursday.
That Thursday.
14th.
The 14th, I know that
More
work.
laid down.
14th works for me.
Okay. I can make it work. Whatever. I'll be at work till 9 at night.
14th works for me. Let me know.
Hey, I'm not taking that.
Yeah, it's good to go ahead and get this ironed out. 'Cause
That's
I
what
know
I
they'll be
was thinking. It's
scheduled
just
the
gonna
next
be
JDA
good.
meeting. Trip Tollison called me today about if we were gonna have a meeting in August. So,
Officially in May, right?
We just got to finalize kind of the words.
Acronyms, bro.
I'm headed to a policy committee meeting tomorrow in Warrenton.
No, it wouldn't be on, well, it's not something that goes through the planning. board.
Well, that next meeting on the 5th,
Okay, let's do
gotta
that.
drive.
Because we're gonna have to advertise it.
We got a policy committee meeting.
So just say it's withdrawn.
Me on Wednesday meetings. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yes. I'll let you know.
God, and I know this because I'm the vice chair, of the Economic Development Transportation Policy Committee for ACCG.
Will be an 8-hour thing.
Hendricks, she's
Well,
chairman for one of the counties, and they got many people. She said with that role, she is on, when you hold that position, you're on 18 different communities. She said it's literally a full-time job, like you are. Every day is 8+ hours a day.
They said, how much time do you have to spend? I said, you can spend it. Just trying to really like, get out of it what you want to get out of it. And then, I got the same check, relax, and then be available for that.
Yeah, I told people, I said, it can be real easy. But you might not be real
You can sit back and
Depends on
chill.
how serious you want to get reelected.
all right.
All right. Y'all just want to roll right in? We good? You good?
Yeah.
Yep.
let me run the bathroom.
Okay. All good, man. All good.
Are you gonna break between, this and,
You planning?
yeah? If you are, I'll wait to go to the restroom. If you aren't, I'm gonna go down.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Board of Commissioners' regular meeting agenda, July 15th, 2025. The time is now 5:08 p.m. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Floyd?
Here.
Commissioner Burdette is not present. Chairman Ron?
Here.
Commissioner Deloach?
Here.
Commissioner Helmley?
Here.
And Commissioner Kiefer is not present, but you have a quorum.
Thank you, ma'am. Do we have any for our invocation tonight?
We do not.
Okay, very good. Commissioner Deloach, you mind leading us in our invocation, please?
Sure. Please stand. Dear Lord, thank you for allowing us to gather here this evening, having the freedom to try to move our county forward, and we appreciate your many blessings. Lord, we ask that you please be with the families that have been affected through our natural disasters across the nation. We want you to please be with them during this terrible time that they're going through, and please help them heal as soon as possible, Lord. Please be with us this evening with this board, Lord, and help us do the things that you would like us to do to help move this county forward. And please help us remember that all good things come through you, Lord. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please remain standing. We're going to do our pledge. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Deloach. Item number 5 is consideration of agenda approval. Consideration of a resolution to approve the agenda. Madam Clerk, do we have any changes in our agenda tonight?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, board members, we do. If you will go with me to page 2 of your agenda, under new business, we have received a request from the applicant for new business number 3, which is a preliminary plat for Neil McKenzie on Sand Hill for the Hindley Tract subdivision. The applicant is requesting to withdraw this item. Additionally, on same page, under new business, as an addition to the agenda, is a warranty deed for acceptance of infrastructure in Palm Ridge Phase 1. Those are your changes.
Very good. Thank you, ma'am.
Excuse me, would you please repeat that last one?
It is new business number 7. It's an addition to the agenda.
Oh, thank you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Chairman, if there are no further questions, I will make a motion to approve the agenda with the noted changes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed, motion carries. Item number 6, minutes. Consideration to approve the July 1st, 2025 work session and regular meeting minutes. If no changes, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed, motion carries. Item number 7, public comments. Comments shall pertain to the agenda items only. Should you wish to make remarks, clearly state your full name into the microphone before commencing to speak. Item 8, correspondence. The agenda packet for this meeting is posted on the county's website. Any additional documentation presented at the meeting shall be submitted to the clerk for receipt, recording, and distribution to the board. Moving into item 9, which is our unfinished business. Item 1 in unfinished business, consideration to approve an application by Scott Rosenstock for preliminary plat for Ale Tract, Willow Fern Estates, located on Blue Jay Road, map number 351, parcel number 3 in the 1st District. This was postponed from our July 1st, 2025 meeting at the request of the applicant.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Chelsea Fernald, Planning Manager. At the February 18th, 2025 Board of Commissioners meeting, the board did approve the rezoning of this parcel from AR1 to R5. The total number of proposed lots for this development is 203 single-family detached units. Effingham County will provide water and sewer for this development. This development does meet the open space requirement for the R5 zoning district, which is 15%, as it will be providing 29.23% of open space. And this includes parks and amenity areas. The development will have 2 parking spaces per unit and 1 space per 5 units. GIS has reviewed and approved the proposed subdivision name, which is Willow Fern Estates, and the building setbacks do comply with the R5 zoning district. This preliminary plat meets all ordinance requirements, including the additional stipulations that were placed by the developer, which include that a minimum heated area within each constructed home shall be the following: 2,400 square feet within the 75-foot wide lots adjacent to Emerald Plantation, 2,000 square feet, within the remaining 75-foot wide lots, and 1,600 square feet within the 55-foot wide lots. A 6-foot transparent fence with vertical pickets providing access control to be constructed where non-lotted areas are constructed adjacent to neighboring properties. A 6-foot opaque solid privacy fence to be constructed where new lots abut adjacent properties. And once 50% of the lot certificate of occupancies have been issued, all amenities shall be started. Staff does recommend approval of the preliminary plat for the L tract, also known as Willow Fern Estates.
Good, thank you. Did that include the decel lane in there as well? I thought that was part of some of the
I
conditions.
will let the
Okay.
engineers.
And then
for that.
another question too, have we resolved all buffer issues with this property as well? Has that been resolved as far as disturbances go? Okay.
Yes. John Giordano, Thomas and Hutton. I'm here representing the applicant. Yes, if you look at the preliminary plat that's was submitted and presented before you, we do have the decel lanes that have been added, so those are included in there. We've got decel lanes on both entrances. I know originally we had only had it on one, but that was one of the comments, was to go ahead and add it to the second entrance, so we did add that. And then regarding the buffer issues, so what occurred was we were having some geotechnical engineers out there doing some exploration. We actually met with the county staff, code enforcement went out there, and there was actually an existing haul road that was through there, and so they were staying on that existing haul road. They did not actually get in and clear any additional buffer area. But obviously having that wooded area behind your property for such a long time, whenever you see that first piece of equipment moving through there, even if it is on an existing haul road, I'm sure it, sparks some concern, so.
Yeah, and I think when the surveyors were out marking, they got on one of the adjoining property owners.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure whenever this starts, there's markings and there's no encroachment on that buffer.
Yes, sir. And we have spoken with the applicant, and everybody is aware that any additional exploration that has to occur out there is going to stay, we're either going to be on that existing road, and then once we actually start construction and we have our access point coming into the site, we're not going to use those roads. We don't want to create any additional disturbance now, so that's why we'd use the existing roads that are there. But once we actually start construction, we're going to not even touch those existing roads, because those are, will be within that buffer area, so.
Very good. Thanks, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any further questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I believe they have addressed all the concerns that we had with all the discussions we had leading up to this. With that, I'll make a motion that we approve with the recommendations included.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed, motion carries. Item number 2, consideration to approve the second reading to amend Appendix C, zoning ordinance section 4.1A, permitted use table of the Effingham County Code of Ordinances. First reading approved July 1st, 2025. Is there any modifications? We're good to go.
I don't
Any discussion? Not, I'll entertain a motion.
make a motion we approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed, motion carries. Moving into new business. Item number 1, consideration to approve an assemblage permit for the Deputy Duck Derby located at 1002 North Pine Street, map number S100, parcel number 10.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The applicant is requesting approval to host a fundraising event at the Effingham Living History Museum. This event will take place Sunday, October 5th, 2025, and it will be from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. This is in support of the Georgia Sheriff's Youth Homes. And based on the attendance from last year's event, and if anyone was there last year, they probably saw the big yellow duck. I think Samantha had, she's very proud of that too. It was the largest duck, I think, in the state, so which was really awesome. But she did have approximately 2,000 attendees. That is the anticipated attendees for this year. Excuse me. This is a family-friendly event, and no alcohol will be served on the premises. So staff has reviewed the application and does recommend approval.
Thank you. Thank you, Chelsea.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unopposed, motion carries. Item number 2, consideration to approve an application by Will Jernigan for a site plan for Effingham Bronze Solar Farm located on Little McCall Road, map number 345, parcel number 37 in the 3rd District.
Thank you. Kimberly Barlett, Community Planner. Okay, so a conditional use to allow for a solar farm in AR1 was approved February 18, 2025. The planned installation completion is March 2026, and the expected decommissioning is March 2056 for a 30-year lease. The solar facility is comprised of approximately 9,125 modules on 2 individual portions, 63 acres total of the 87-acre parcel. There is a 75-foot property setback. 55 feet will remain uncleared and serve as a natural buffer along Little McCall Road and a fence around the solar array. They will receive a nationwide permit, Permit 51, which this permit authorizes construction, expansion, or modification of land-based renewable energy production facilities. There's 2 phases of the development, and they will be constructed and operated concurrently. The decommissioning plan has been received with this application. Staff has reviewed the application and recommends approval with the stipulation that the applicant will adhere to the current Georgia law for a solar power facility agreement.
Thank you, ma'am. What is the current requirement on the adjacent properties to it for buffers? So we stipulated McCall, but
So because it is AR1 to AR1, it should be 15
It's the
feet?
15
Yes,
feet.
15 feet buffer.
okay, so will that remain undisturbed as well?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Where applicable, if it's not already cleared, so.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Any further questions? If not, entertain a motion.
Yeah, this site plan looks like what was originally presented. So with that being said, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed, motion carries. Item number 4, consideration to approve contract amendment 2025-08.2 with the Coastal Regional Commission for congregate and home delivered meals for fiscal year 2025.
Good afternoon, Mark Barnes, Finance Director. This amendment does not actually change the dollar amount. It's just a Coastal Regional Commission altering some of the funding sources. They manage the state and federal grants. There's about 6 to 7 different of them that funnel into the senior meals, and they're just moving some of the funding from one program to another. Staff recommends approval of the CRC amendment.
Thank you, Mark. Entertain a motion.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed, motion carries. Item number 5, consideration to approve the revised fiscal year 2026 University of Georgia Extension Office Personnel Agreement.
Yes, sir. This is every year we have an agreement with the UGA Extension Office for the personnel that are out there at that office. This is for the county's portion of the personnel costs each year. There's been a slight increase this year, which is based on the COLA and merits that go out. Staff recommends approval of this contract.
Who are we covering over there? I know the FFA,
There's about 6 or 7 people out there. Let me see.
I mean, what, not the individuals, but what's the
The overall activities that they
overall
do?
activities there?
They do a lot of education with students and a lot of outdoor stuff. They also do soil sampling, and they give seminars on farming and agriculture and things like those. Mostly educational related activities.
I've used it to get my grass right.
Oh,
Yeah.
testing the
A lot of
pH
people
level.
don't know about that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Great. Thank you, Mark.
Yes, sir.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed, motion carries. Item number
Thank you.
6. Thank you, Mark. Consideration to approve to a purchase agreement with 10-8 Fire and Safety for 2 fire engines. That's all?
Yes, sir. Right now, Effingham Fire operates 17 first out stations. I'm sorry. And what we've tried to do over the years is to purchase 1 to 2 engines per year to try not to have large expenditures at one point in time. And this is just keeping that up. And I believe the apparatus that these are going to replace is a 96 and a 99 model.
Gotcha.
Is the lead time still 3 years?
Yes, sir. It's between 32 and 36 months.
Goodness gracious. What's the operational time? How long are you getting out of these? I mean, I know you said 96 and 98. Is that something we purchased, or is that something you purchased used?
With the
or-
call volumes increasing like they are, I'm sure we probably won't get the 35 years out of them, but, I mean, you're still looking well over 20 years.
Gotcha. Cool.
But the last order y'all put in, we're about to, what's the schedule of putting in operation those units that we ordered 3 years ago?
Well, we're hoping those will come in, we're hoping December, January timeframe.
Yeah. So we do have some stuff coming in. We put these in, obviously 3 years in advance, so we
What are
can
we
plan
doing,
on coming
putting
in.
the other ones out to bid? Are we putting the old retired units out to bid?
Yes, sir.
further?
We'll have options, whether we want to just send it to standard auction, or we could use a brokering company, which is probably what I would recommend, because it tends to bring a higher resale value.
Gotcha. Cool. Thank you, Clint. Any further discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to purchase the 2 fire engines.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed, motion carries. Moving into agenda item number 11, reports from commissioners and administrative staff.
Have one more.
I'm sorry. That's correct. We did have the agenda addition. Moving into item number 7, addition to the agenda. Consideration to approve a warranty deed for acceptance of certain infrastructure for Palm Ridge Phase 1 subdivision located off Zitrower Road.
Before you go on with that, EMC's done some of the work on this, so I'm gonna have to recuse myself, so,
So we won't be able to vote.
so I
We'll
don't
just
know
have to
that we
table
can
it,
have
I
a
guess.
vote.
Yeah, we're going to have to table that.
Table it.
Unless I misread some of the information, but I'm pretty sure I saw EMC on there, so.
Lee, do you have any advice on this, sir?
I'm sorry, what's the question?
Ms. Best, potential conflict of interest, do you have any advice?
I'm pretty sure this Palm Ridge is, EMC worked on that, so.
We don't have 2 commissioners. All we could do is table, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, if you don't have a quorum, yeah, you can't take action.
I mean, y'all can double check me, but I'm pretty sure I looked all over this yesterday, but I saw EMC,
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay,
so rather than to save you some verbiage there.
well, we added and we subtracted.
Yeah. I didn't think about it when you added it, that's why.
So let's do take action to postpone it
Okay, so postpone until
postpone it,
which
yeah.
meeting?
to the August 1st,
Okay. Entertain a motion to
August 5th.
Fifth.
sorry.
postpone item number 7 here to the August 5th meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed, motion carries. Okay, now, moving into item number 11, reports from commissioners and administrative staff.
Sure, just a couple of things. First off, as many of you know, on Thursday morning, the power will be turned on and the traffic light at 21 in McCall in Springfield will be operational. And it will be a little bit more difficult to get to because McCall Road in that north section is still closed to the 23rd. But to at least to the latest, the 23rd. But that progress has been going well despite the record rainfall we've had so far for the month. Also, I did want to announce to you all that Joshua Moody, is he okay? If you can stand. He's been promoted to the chief building official for the county. He has asked to make a statement, so
Josh, do you mind coming up and making a statement? No, okay.
also, I want to say that we are trying to schedule some ribbon cuttings on some facilities that may seem like they've been open for a little bit, but we do want to make sure that they're 100% ready to go. This facility being one of them, we do want to have a ribbon cutting, invite the public to come in and see it. We're just waiting for some signage to come in. But we pretty much got everything else operational.
What's been the delay on the signage?
I'm not quite.
Okay.
That's
what I
I
thought
don't
the
quite
answer
know
was
what the
gonna be. I
problem
was
is.
just curious.
It's taking, and it's not terribly complicated.
Is it
signage, so-
handcrafted and painted or
Yeah, it's
Okay.
mostly the
whittled? by
little
elves?
things you see by the door, but also the big Effingham County Tax Commissioner's office behind
Gotcha.
the teller desks. The one we're just doing some site civil work to wrap up, and that is the Emergency Operations Center and Rec department expansion. But we're hoping to have that, probably will be the first one that we have, grand opening that we have. That facility is really state-of-the-art, beautiful. And then following that, we're kind of in the punch list item right now of the Ebenezer Fire Station. There's quite a few things that we got to get done there as well. But we do want to showcase those facilities. The public did entrust us to pay for them with SPLOST, and so they want to make sure that they're getting their money's worth. So we will make sure we'll have events to them as well. Obviously, for you folks that were out at the Meldrum opening, some of these grand openings are just, they seem to be attracting more and more people. So it's good to see, and it's good to see how excited folks were for some of this
people from other
equipment to go in.
areas too, not just there. So
What'd you say?
I was surprised it was people from outside of Meldrum that were there as well.
Exactly. So
Majority
when
I
we
talked
get the
to
big
was-
park done there, the rest of the park done there, we'll have another one. They can enjoy the whole thing. But we're making some progress, and obviously you see the results of the roads that are occurring. We're doing the finishing up striping on Blue Jay. We are doing, they are finishing up the first section of McCall, doing, with striping, doing the second section, obviously right now with the full depth reclamation, just south of Springfield. And then right after that, and I think about 2 weeks, you'll see the third phase, which goes from Blandford all the way down, just past the CSX rail. So those roads, particularly the sections that we brought up to GDOT freight standards, make a huge difference in the quality of the drive because the lanes are much wider. We've eliminated the rumble strips, and we've got and we've got wider shoulders on it as well. So everything's going well.
Nice.
Them rumble strips makes it hard to dodge the potholes.
Oh,
Thank you, Tim. Madam Clerk, you have anything you want to add?
No, sir.
Okay. Anyone else? Clint, will you be doing a full-blown mock thing for your emergency management? So when we do the presentation, we can kind of get an idea of what you guys are doing? Okay, very good.
Or is it our turn now?
It's our turn now. We'll start with you, Commissioner Floyd.
I don't have anything today.
All right. Commissioner Deloach.
Tim, just at some point, if you can get some kind of tentative schedule on the District 3 roads, there's been stuff out in the press about it starting, so I'm just starting to get, questions about some type of high-level list or schedule.
in about a week, you should see the bulk of the District 3 roads starting. Jonathan, I wanted to get the schedule. He's been out sick for 2 days. But as soon as I get that schedule, we'll get it out to you and we'll get it online so folks know what the order of those roads are.
Okay, thank you. The only other thing I had, I just wanted to clarify something from the last meeting. I wasn't here, I was on vacation, but it just involves the McGraley grass cutting contract. Previous this year, we were looking at possibly adding some more rounds of cutting, and I talked with McGraley about that, and they did give us a quote on what that would be, and their quote was the same as what they currently do from edge of road to the edge of the right-of-way. And I know we are going to try to work with our prison crew and try to do one strip beside the road in between McGraley's cuttings. And McGraley just wanted to make sure that we knew that they did not know they needed to quote just one strip beside the road. And so what I will do next year, I'll make sure the communication, whether we sit down and have a meeting, I'll just make sure, you know, they're involved with the discussion, and it's just apples to apples on their next contract. So they just reached out, just wanted to make sure that, you know, we knew that. And, you know, and maybe that was my fault. I didn't communicate that clearly, but I just told them next year we'd make sure we were all on the same page. And
Correct. And just so you know, I didn't want to make it seem like we were, this was a cheaper option. It was not apples to apples.
Yeah.
This was simply just to keep the first 10 feet of the road clear in between cuttings, and was not a full, it was not meant to be a full service replacement.
Yeah, and also, and we were replacing those tractors anyway because the current ones we had were worn out.
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, sir. Mr. Hillman?
The only thing is, and I did mention this to Jonathan this week, but a lot of concerns about the paving job on Courthouse Road. That is just horrible. Rode down it the other day.
Yeah.
And it is concern too because they're doing the total reclamation
Right.
on McCall. So he said that he was going to stay on top of it, but we definitely need to because lots of money being spent, and you know, the guys are doing a great job on the other part of McCall, the McClendon people, but Platinum did not do a good job.
Well, even on the other part of Courthouse, they did a good job.
Yeah.
Just not that section. He's working with Reeves. Platinum on that's a subcontractor. And he's working with Reeves on that. I think it's Reeves. I hope it is.
In any case, whoever it
Yeah.
is, I
He's
mean,
working with them to figure out the trouble spots. He knows what the issue was. It was the way that they did it, and I think he brought it up here at the meeting. But there are some low spots in there that they can try and rectify. But it's that's why you have not seen the permanent striping on it, because they have not come to resolution on it. And until they come up with something that we're satisfied with, the problem is that, you know, it technically may meet standards in certain places. It's just not as smooth as the other parts of the road. But in some cases, in some locations on that road, it's just unacceptable. So.
So was it like Grayson Road? It's got humps on it?
Exactly. That's exactly it.
Because Platinum was involved in that as
So
well.
it's not a smooth. It's a very kind of wavy surface on it, and it's not as smooth as flat as the other section of Courthouse.
and see, they're the ones doing the total reclamation. So that, you know.
Grayson Road over in Guyton was a nightmare.
Yeah.
That's good info.
I'm glad to hear staff staying on top of that too. So, good.
That's otherwise, we're good.
And then I'll recognize myself, just thanking staff for patience. I know you guys have been working hard on these ordinances here, and we challenge them every time. So I'll be glad to, you know, we set some time aside and beat these out so we don't beat them out, you know, and drag things on any further. So, but thank you guys for that. Other than that, that's all I got. Stay cool.
break till 6.
Yeah, do we, or, I'm assuming we don't have.
Do we
a
need executive session?
Executive session today?
I don't think so, no. I don't really have, I mean, we,
Stephanie
I
said
don't
no.
really have any
I mean,
updates.
Very good.
Okay.
Take a break at 6.
Yep. All right, we will reconvene at 6 o'clock for our planning board. Yeah, we need a mock emergency. call us back to order. We're going to move into item number agenda item number 14, Planning Board. Item number 1 is a public hearing. Consideration to approve an application by Michael Trepagnier for a variance from section 3.21.1 to allow for the occupation of a camper RV during home construction in AR1, located at 353 Pearl Davis Road, map number 289, parcel number 10 in the 3rd District.
Thank you. Kimberly Barlett, Community Planner. The applicant would like to live on site in their camper while their home construction is finished. The applicant anticipates the construction to be completed by April of 2026. The residential building permit was submitted June 17th, 2025. Staff has reviewed the application and the application is complete with the following stipulations. The camper may be occupied for up to 12 months during construction. And 2, upon issuance of the certificate of occupancy for the house construction, the camper shall be vacated and disconnected from well and septic.
Very good. Thank you, ma'am. I'll now open the public hearing. If the applicant is here and has anything to add, please come forward. And you have to tell me how to pronounce your last name properly, so that guessed.
Thanks for having us. That's actually pretty good.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's a Louisiana name. Not many folks get even that
Well,
close.
I told him I parlez-vous, so I was going to add that in there.
There
so.
you go. Yeah, no, we broke ground yesterday. Jeffrey Mitchell came out and installed the septic, so we're moving right along with it. Hope to be done by April of 26th.
Very good. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, being this is a public hearing, is there anyone opposed to this? If so, please come forward. Being there are none, I will close the public meeting and entertain a motion. No questions.
Yeah, I think this is a basic request here. I will make a motion to approve with planning board and staff recommendations.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unopposed, motion carries. Item number 2, second reading. Consideration to approve the second reading of an application by Michael Trepagnier for a variance from section 3.21.1 to allow for the occupation of a camper RV during home construction in AR1, located at 353 Pearl Davis Road, map number 289, parcel number 10 in the 3rd District.
I'll make a motion to approve the second reading.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unopposed, motion carries. Moving on to item number 3. It's a public hearing, consideration to approve an application by Jessica Hill Rainey for conditional use to allow for a rural business located at 2517 Low Ground Road, map number 372A, parcel number 8 in the 4th District.
Thank you. Kimberly Barlett, Community Planner. The applicant requests a conditional use for a rural business to have an esthetician business at her home. The building will be separate from the principal dwelling. All business will be by appointment only with off-street parking for clients. The business will be located in a room of an existing shop, which is about 450 square feet. Services will include facials and waxing services. Work hours are between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m., Monday through Friday, and possibly one Saturday per month. The property is zoned AR2, and the future land use map does have this parcel projected to remain agricultural residential. Staff has reviewed the application, and the application is complete with the following condition. The applicant shall obtain and keep in good standing in an Effingham County business license.
Thank you, ma'am. If the applicant has anything they want to add, please come forward.
Is the applicant here?
Yes.
Oh.
All right, please state your name for the record.
Jessica Hill Rainey.
Thank you.
All that sounded great. That's pretty much the plan, just basic facials, waxing services. It will be appointment only, so we do have a gated property, so cars cannot just come in the property without that scheduled appointment.
Gotcha.
So you're not looking at I mean, you said appointments, but there's not gonna be just a huge amount of traffic, because this is a rural
There will not
area.
be any amount of traffic, just, it will be, because it's just solo, it's myself only, so one person at a time, basically, and you have to have a scheduled appointment to come onto the property.
Very good. Any further questions?
Nope.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Municipal public hearing. If there's anyone here opposed, please come forward. Being there are none, I will now close the public hearing. I will entertain questions and a motion.
Unless y'all have a question, I'll move that we approve this conditional use for rural business.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed, motion carries. Item number 4, second reading, consideration to approve the second reading of an application by Jessica Hill Rainey for a conditional use to allow for a rural business located at 2517 Low Ground Road, map number 372A, parcel number 8 in the 4th District. Entertain a motion.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed, motion carries. Congratulations. All right, moving back to
Executive session.
item number, agenda item number 13, executive session minutes. Need a motion, consideration to approve the July 1st, 2025 executive session minutes.
So I have a question for our attorney real quick. So since I was not here, I mean, being us approving minutes, I mean, do I need to recuse or?
Yeah, you wouldn't vote on that. So we probably need to do that next meeting
We only
when we have a
two.
quorum. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay, well, with that, I'll entertain a motion to move this to our August 5th meeting for approval.
Make a motion that we move approval of the executive session minutes to the August 5th meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed, motion carries. And item number 15, adjournment.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Y'all have a good evening.
Thank you.